What's going on, everybody? Thad of PunkMouth Radio here, brought to you by the Nerdcore Network. I'm here with Naveed and Tom of In Loving Memory. How are you guys doing today?
Chilling hard body, my man.
Doing good, dude.
Awesome.
Chilling.
So we're here mainly because, one, you guys just dropped a new single called Vixen. It's unlike anything you've ever done before. So why don't you tell me about what brought you to this moment in your career as a band to change your sound, change your perspective and dynamic on how you make music and going forward?
Cool. The change in sound was definitely a long time coming, probably a little more than most people might realize. Like Vixen, for example, is a song that I started writing about 2 years ago, like before Introspective was even out. And that was a song I just kind of had sitting for a minute. And I don't know, I think the main reason the sound evolved the way it did is because our tastes as musicians have just kind of changed. But that doesn't mean we, we did anything consciously necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a very subconscious thing. Like he said, like the music that we've been listening to has just evolved and changed, and has been more of like on the pop side of things, and more alternative rock, and even some weirder stuff. Like I've been really into some like certain Broadway type soundtracks, and just everything in between. So all of that culminated into the new sound. And I think, to add on to what you said really quickly, with Introspective, I actually think we started experimenting with, at least on the production side of things, we started experimenting with new sounds and new vibes. Because on Introspective, we since I produced it, there were a lot of points where the music called for things that our previous music hadn't called for before, so we started getting our feet wet, so to speak, with new vibes and new sounds, even on Introspective. But we sort of just like went full force with it on
Right,
Vixen.
because as we listened to more, R&B, pop, hip hop, Broadway, that it challenged us we were subconsciously taking in more influences on a production side that weren't just, your typical drums, bass, guitar, vocals.
Right.
Yeah.
So would you say it was a turning point for so to speak, because it's like you guys had things already established, you kind of felt that things were going in a different direction that you hadn't really predicted, but ultimately music led you to where you guys are now?
Absolutely. And it was at some moments it was definitely scary to do because we by now our band, we do have a bit of history. We've been at it for a little more than 4 years now, and so especially on a local level, people expect a certain kind of sound from us, and that's something we definitely at times were afraid to break away from. But at the end of the day, we trusted where our artistic vision wanted to lead us, and we tried to let every other variable take a backseat.
Yeah, it's more of I feel like it was more of a leap of faith you guys took with that single, because right now I feel like in the current state of rock music or just music in general, there are tons of bands taking risks, stepping outside of their defined genre box, so to speak, and really going against the grain, not only doing what they want to do, but doing what's going to not only appeal to most people, but going to appeal to themselves in the end. I mean, you got bands like Emarosa, Paramore, Bring Me the Horizon, really just taking everything that they've done so far, pushing it off to the side, and really just making something really new and artistic, and something that's unlike anything their fans have heard previously. And I think you guys are also doing that very well in that step. And I want to get to the subject matter of Vixen and everything going forward. What are topics that fans could expect to hear on the new stuff you guys have coming soon?
Ooh, on the new music that we're working on, because we're very much working on more new music to come out this year. And I think the cool thing about the way I've been approaching lyrics this time around with all the new music we're writing is because I think we found a sound now sonically and musically where it sort of allows me to feel I can be more open and honest about things that are way more personal to me. So like, I talk a lot about in online social media and some of the extra content that we've put out about, my upbringing as a first-generation American, the son of immigrant parents from Bangladesh, and just sort of how that's shaped my perspective and the lens through which I view the world. And now I think you can definitely expect our newer music to touch on that topic very on the nose. And I think a good comparison, at least in my mind, is our song Nomad, for example, the one we dropped a live music video for when we played it at Gramercy Theater. I gave that speech that basically very much declares that topic is about. That song is about that topic rather. But I listened to the song and I'm like, I don't think anybody would gather that from just the lyrics alone.
Right.
Because I look back and it's because I realized something like a topic like that, for example, that is such a huge part of my identity. Honestly, I feel like I didn't have the courage to really explicitly put it out there. And that's something that this time around I feel a lot more confident in just really putting my perspective on topics like that out into the world. So that said, the new music that we're going to put out this year is definitely going to be the most honest and most personal that I've ever written.
Yeah, and I can say from a bit of an outside perspective, just because I'm not the one writing the lyrics,
right?
That the pure honesty that Naveed's lyrics this time have embodied makes the songs that much more captivating, because even I in no way relate to his lyrics, it's not like I've gone through the same things that he's gone through, but still I am so drawn into them just because I think when you speak so honestly in a song and in your lyrics, no matter what it is, even if you don't relate to it, you're just almost forced to listen, because it's wow, this person is putting it all on the line.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about the lyrics in these new songs. It's just it's gonna punch people in the gut.
I love music like that because I feel oh, go ahead.
So I just wanted to add, that's a perspective that I value a lot, because in writing a lot of these new songs, I had sometimes I would be very fearful of I've told you this exact scenario. I would hate to play in front of 1,000 people, give a speech about something I'm very passionate about and then have them not get it or not, that's
exactly.
a big fear of mine. So for me to hear from you that yes, I haven't gone through exactly what you've been through, I might personally never understand, but you're delivering it in a way that is still able to resonate with me, that is very reassuring for me. And again, it gives me more confidence to just spit my truth.
Awesome.
Which is cool.
I feel there's a lot of music out there that can be very one-sided when talking about certain topics of where your background is from or anything relating to that. But I feel music right now really needs a lot more honesty and a lot more just in your face, cold hard truth with guitars and everything, and just pretty much everything that music has been for the past couple of years leading till now to amplify that. I feel there's a sense of finding where you are in hold on, let me gather myself a bit. A sense of finding yourself within music that allows you to express yourself a lot more. And it's a really beautiful thing that you guys and more bands in general are starting to take that approach to their music and their songwriting and everything. So, being on the topic of representation, how does that play a factor into what you write? Does it always come into factor when you write a song, or if it's a certain moment that has really amplified that for you?
I like this question. Yeah, because there are tons of content creators of all kinds, not just musicians, YouTubers, artists, fashion designers, whoever. If they come from a certain background, what I don't like seeing, or what I think can hold some of those creators back, is if all of those, if their entire following and fan base is just people who are of the same background as them. For example, an Asian YouTuber. You know what I mean? You obviously it's so, you take so much pride in being able to resonate and reach out to your people of the same demographic as you, because growing up wanting to be a musician, I had no role model who looked like me to look up to. Yeah. So if I could be that for the next generation, I would love that for sure. But at the same time, I don't want to be pigeonholed to just that. Right. Obviously, the goal is to create something, universal, something that can appeal to everybody. So it is a line that I still think that we're trying to carve out now as we're, continuing to write and record our new music. Because, like I said, you want to you want to be able to create something that transcends genre, transcends racial boundaries, religion, sexual orientation, all those things.
Right. So, getting into a lighter side of things, tell me what are some of you guys' favorite foods? Like, what do you guys like to eat?
I'm a strong advocate for Oreos and chocolate milk. That's my
Man.
You put me on.
Man.
You put
That's
me
my
on.
go-to.
You
That's my
really
go-to
put me on.
dessert.
Tell them your method
Okay,
of
so
conception.
the method is you can't just dunk it like a basic Winnie. You gotta put the Oreo in your mouth first. Take a sip of milk. Then, while everything's in there, you break the Oreo with your tongue. You just break it against the roof of your mouth, and then the milk just automatically rushes into the Oreo from all angles.
Wow.
Oh, and it gets fully submerged, and you got yourself a delicious treat.
I know some people do the whole fork method, like where they put the fork
That's
with
pretty
the
good. Yeah, you
cream.
put a fork in the icing of the Oreo.
Yeah.
And then you are able to easily dunk it.
Oh, like, whoa.
Yeah,
That's for like people who don't like to get their hands dirty.
Interesting. Like crumbs and all.
Yeah, I don't mind
Whoa.
getting my hands dirty though. I'm also an advocate of Oreos, but I really have been just eating a lot of spicy stuff lately. I don't know why.
Got it.
Yeah, I can tolerate the exact average amount of spicy food. If it gets too spicy where it interferes with the flavor, I'm like,
Yeah,
rather
because
not.
there's a difference between having a lot of spice and heat, and there's the difference between having a lot of spice and flavor,
Yeah.
which is also really it's also a fine line to cross
For sure.
per se. What genres of movies do you guys like to watch?
Ooh, I'm pretty out of date with movies, unfortunately.
I am as well.
Oh,
I'm trying to think of a recent one that I saw.
yeah, I'm trying.
Netflix counts, no worries.
I've been really into Black Mirror.
I was gonna say the new
Yeah.
Black Mirror definitely.
I
messed me
haven't
up.
watched it yet
The
because
new one's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
there's
they did a
always
good job.
weird adjustment period for me in Black Mirror because I watch it and the material and everything within whatever is on is so captivating and it shakes me to my core. It's
Yes.
Definitely.
No, when I can't binge Black Mirror.
Yeah, I have to take a
can't-
breather.
it's one a day at most. I can't watch several in a row because after
It's good. You're gonna have an existential crisis if you binge Black Mirror.
And it's really hard to sort of adjust back to reality when all that stuff happens to you. I still have to finish Umbrella Academy, which I've been hearing a lot about.
I've been hearing of that. I haven't watched.
It's been really good so far.
I've heard a lot of good things. I've been really into Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Really?
If you've ever
That's a
watched
show
that.
you've been. I should
love-
get on that.
I love that
You
show.
speak of that
I
highly.
just finally caught up to the current season that is going on now.
Awesome.
Well, yeah.
For movies, I recently just watched Captain Marvel. It was fantastic.
Ooh.
It
So
was,
interesting.
even though I personally can't relate to sort of female empowerment and things like that, I still felt somewhat empowered by that movie.
Oh yeah, no.
It was such a great thing to see Marvel do their first female superhero film and have it speak on so many levels, and there's sort of little nods to things that we still women in our generation still experience today.
For
which
sure.
is
Yeah,
such an amazing thing. For
The
not
things that
only-
we overlook because we don't have
Exactly.
to deal with it.
Exactly. And I feel like when you have a film that speaks on many levels to just either casual fans or comic book sweaties like me, or just things, or just people that are just like the movies for the movies, and they really pick up on the script, the characters, how they interact with each other and things like that. It's a really beautiful thing to have it sort of cross over into reality in some sort of way. And you could still feel empowered by it.
Yeah, no, I was actually gonna say just like with music,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to relate to you directly, but if it's packaged and delivered the right way, such that you still resonate and can take away something valuable from it, that's how you know the creator did a good job with it.
It comes down to the idea of telling a story.
Exactly.
That's really what the basis of everything is, movies, music, whatever. If it's a good story, if you feel like there's a character that went through a lot, and
You grow
came
attached
out
to them.
on
That's a
top-
very natural
Yeah.
human thing.
Yeah. Piggybacking off what you said about stories, are there any stories that you guys haven't told within your music that you want to tell?
Ooh, well, definitely, I can say for sure there's definitely going to be one song in particular that we're writing that is going to be exactly this is what it's like to be a first generation kid, child of immigrants, growing up in NYC. Like that's literally going to be like basically like my life story kind of deal. So that's something I'm very excited to write about because like I was saying before, it's stuff that I've always talked about, stuff that I know, from conversations I have with people every day is definitely something that a lot of kids like me are waiting to hear and have never heard before. So, and that's why I'm taking my time with it because, like, obviously, you want to make sure you deliver it the best, honest way. Because that's a song where normally when I write music, and I'm talking about just my personal experience, that's all it is. It's just my personal experience. But if this song in particular is one where I'm going to be, if I'm hoping to represent other people, others besides myself, I want to make sure I do it the right way. And so that's why I'm taking my time with it. But that's something I'm excited to talk about. On a lighter note, there's another song we're writing where I talk about straight up like my take on this crazy like hookup culture or modern dating, whatever we call it.
I think this is the song I've been waiting for.
Yeah. Basically, like the premise of it is like we've all been through it. You talk to someone, you get close. We don't date because we hang out, right? Like that's what our generation does now, right?
Out.
Yeah, exactly. You get close, things are good. Then suddenly someone ghosts the other, but like you can't get mad at them, right? Because you weren't official anyway. But like you had something, but weren't you like? And then it's like, what? You're just left like, what the hell happened?
Like, what did I do?
Do I even have the right to be upset? And it's funny because like I'm talking about it as if I'm not part of the problem. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be a cool song that I'm excited to sing about. Yeah.
Have you guys thought about co-writing with other people?
We have, yeah. No, we actually right here at Wave Remedy Studios. Actually, we had for two of the new songs that we're working on, we had a bunch of singers come in. This was like a couple weeks ago to record some like group vocals, kind of like some choir-esque parts. Nothing too crazy, but like
I dig that
stuff. Yeah. Like I said, we're trying to get more grandiose with our production. So we were like, you know what? Let's get a bunch of singers in here. Let's lay it down. Let's make the songs sound as huge as we physically can get them.
Mm-hmm.
I think in terms of like actually co-writing and like getting other writers together and making a song, we haven't like seriously discussed it, but I think like we'd be open to it for sure.
Yeah, cool. That definitely something I'd like to explore in the future. I think the reason we didn't is because like we in a lot of ways we feel like in Loving Memory with this next chapter we're really like starting from the ground again. So we felt it was necessary for us to figure that out on our own, like relay the foundation. But I think, after this year when we, put out all the new music that we're working on, I think, like you said, I think I would be much more open to work with outside writers and producers.
Yeah, that also ties into why we were originally discussing the idea of after Introspective doing our stuff with like a producer, like a real producer, try and get like a bigger name to help us out, someone who's been in the business a little bit longer. But we ultimately decided against it for that very reason, because this is kind of a new start. If we're not sure what we're doing, we don't want to bring like this outside person into the mix, So that's why we decided to just write everything, record, produce,
mix, especially because I'm a lot more confident now that we're stumbling upon a sound that really hasn't been done before, at least in the way that we're going to do it. So if like I said, if we can lay the foundation for ourselves, it's a lot easier at that point to have outside influences come on board, because now they know what they're getting into. Because it would suck if we worked with someone and then that producer's like, all right, so you guys are like a post-hardcore band, right? Let's, you know what I mean? Like then we're like, wait, no, we're trying to.
Or like you guys are a pop duo, right? And we're like, oh, we don't know, like maybe a little bit. Yeah. So now, like you said, like we got a little more figured out. We can move forward with it a little more with other people involved.
Awesome. So to wrap things up a little bit here, if In Loving Memory weren't the band that you guys are now, what band would you be?
As in like
literally the first thing that came into my mind, like you're talking like if we could be like a different genre.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
First thing that came to my mind is like I think it'd be really fun to just be a dumb heavy like deathcore, like like
just
8-string guitar,
just progressive, just
dumb, slow, heavy.
Just a bludgeoning. You used that word before.
Bludgeoning.
Just a bludgeoning.
That's a rare word you don't really hear in the English.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like,
oh my God.
Like bands like Meshuggah make me feel that to my core, where I'm like, if I could just like be in a band like this for one show, like that would be
One
so
show
cool.
only.
Like I wouldn't even do vocals. I'd want to be on like guitar or bass because
Yeah,
that's just
me too.
fun.
I want to be guitar, bass, or drums.
Yeah.
Like, I mean that's I don't do.
We could be
vocals.
instrumental.
We could be
Yeah.
instrumental.
Hey, look at Calor.
You want to do
They're-
vocals?
I don't sing, but I
Do you
I
scream?
Could, I could.
come on
I
in.
wish I could scream. That was like my goal for like 2010 to 2011. Like I just wanted to like wake up every day with Michael Bond's vocals.
Oh, dude.
Such a great vocalist.
Yeah. I love him.
If you could go back in time and tell yourself one thing that would nobody told you about being a band would require, what would it be?
This is a good one. Oh, okay. Here, yeah, I know what my answer is. Growing up, like getting into writing songs, I was like a teenager, 13, 14, whenever you get your first heartbreak, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I'm going to write some stuff. Now, but I think the biggest lie I was told, or at least consumed from a lot of different people, places, sources, was that if you have great music, your audience will find you, and that's that. I was like, and now I'm looking back, and I'm like, yeah, really? You're telling, and it sucks because you're telling that to so many other artists now who they really are naive to the whole reality that this is at the end of the day an industry and it's a business that we're trying to build. So, obviously, going through the motions of being a band completely independently on our own, like we've had to learn a lot of the business aspects on our own, and we're still learning that every single day. But that's something I wish I was more privy to when I was younger, or someone told me like, hey, like maybe actually look into like do your homework on what does a record label do versus a manager versus a booking agent versus a publicist. Like you have to know these things. Like if you need a lawyer, at what point do you need a lawyer? At what point should you form an LLC? Like, or is that even the right type of what I mean? Like it's very cute to tell kids like just write great music and everything will fall into place. Of course, that is the foundation of everything. But I think at least for me personally, I wish I was ready to bite the business bullet a lot younger, if that makes sense.
That's a good answer.
I feel like I just learned a whole lot. Like I took a music industry course from just hearing all of that just now.
Well, that's
honestly.
cool.
Yeah.
Like action packed, just bite-sized industry. I don't know. For me, I guess my answer would be that as well. Like a lot of what he said also applies to me. But to add on to it, I think I would have liked to have been told a little bit more of the importance of your confidence in your band members, I guess.
I agree with that.
When I was younger and like forming my first band, you kind of have these like gut feelings, and it always like plays out the way that you would first imagine it. Like if there's someone in the band who isn't as dedicated or just isn't as into it, you kind of tell yourself like, oh, they'll like get into it, But
or maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm looking for reasons to not trust them or whatever.
But maybe if I was told a little more like, hey, surround yourself with people that are like-minded and have the same level of passion and enthusiasm as you, then maybe I would have avoided certain people altogether. Like this also just goes way back to when I first started doing bands, so yeah, that would be something that I would I wish I was told.
I can agree with that. Having confidence in your team is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, if you're in a band with a handful of individuals, like if you can't see yourself taking over the world with them, like then what's that really going to be?
It's a lot like a relationship with four other people.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because you guys all have to be on the same page.
You have to know each other all, so like there can't be secrets. There's a different level of intimacy that needs to exist in any kind of serious band.
Agreed. I think I'm all out of questions, but to wrap things up, what would you suggest for anybody out there who's looking to start their own band or just looking to really do the music thing as committed as you guys are now?
One thing I would say is to try and make yourself as well-rounded as possible, because in the music industry, what I've found is that in order to make a living off of it, and I'm still not there. I'm still trying to. We're all still trying to achieve that. But what I think I'm finding is that the more different applications that you can, or the more different jobs that you can take on, the better luck you're gonna have finding like paid gigs, paid commissions, whatever. Because it's hard. It's hard to make money in this industry, whether you're in a band. So like,
off of just the band.
Yeah, like I'm in a band, but like I also produce other bands, and I also do like commission work for like some orchestral stuff, and I also like am a hire. Sometimes people hire.
It helps if you play. It helps if you play every instrument.
So yeah, that comes
It's
down.
funny
to
you
being
mentioned that because I
well-rounded.
thought about taking bass lessons actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you are talking to a music teacher right here.
We'll talk about lessons on the side, but
no, I think Tom, that's a very important point, is because a lot of musicians these days, and even now, like you see with the power of the internet, with the power of social media, like there's so many different ways to create like auxiliary sources of income. Like basically use your following that you got from your passion project, aka your band, and use that following and influence to see how, what are other ways you can monetize it.
Like as a quick example of that, when I was looking at college, and I really wanted to go to music school. That wasn't really up for debate for me. There was a point where I could have decided to be like a songwriting major or a production recording major. And for me, songwriting is something that has always come naturally. Writing music has always been something that I've just done on my own, whereas production was something that was challenging to me and that I didn't know innately how to do. As much as I would have loved to study songwriting, I knew that I could figure that out on my own. So that's why I studied production, and I'm glad I did, because now that's a skill that I have that I can monetize, So I think if there's anyone out there that is faced with a decision similar to that, go with the thing you're not comfortable with, try and learn new skills, ready yourself as much as you can to take on as much as possible.
True. And actually, just to build on that real quick, at this point, we produce all our own music thanks to you. You also do a lot of our graphics according to, usually like I'm the one who says, Tom, we need this kind of thing with this size. Can you make it happen? And then, me and him work together that way, because when you start a band, from the ground up, you're going to be paying for a lot of things. Designing merch, booking shows, all of that stuff. The more homework you do and the more skills, the more things you can do on your own, the better off you will be, because, obviously that does mean more time and effort, but it's like, if you don't have the money to pay someone to do it for you, someone's got to do it, right?
That's true.
So
that is definitely true.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you guys so much for coming with me on this interview. You guys will be able to check this out very soon on the internet. For all things PunkMouth related, check out punkmouth.com. Naveed, Tom, thank you guys so much for this interview. I cannot wait for everybody to see this. Go check out Vixen on Spotify, everywhere music is streamable, because it's awesome and you should totally check it out. From everybody here at PunkMouth Radio, thank you guys again so much.
Hey, thank you for having us, dude.
No problem.
Appreciate it, guys.
Where can people find you guys on social media?
Ooh, all right. So Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube /InLovingMemoryNY on all of that. Twitter is a little different, ILM New York. You can also check out our website, which is InLovingMemoryNY.com.
Awesome. Thank you guys again so much. I've been Thad of PunkMouth Radio. You guys can follow me on Instagram @ThadLovesBands_. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Peace.